I think that Young Thug interview was necessary because we needed to clear his name and he needs to sell records. And I'm just being honest with y'all. This was a very important interview for him because the phone leaks that went crazy on the internet was something that was completely bearing his name, and he needed something to dig himself out of that grave. There are some things here that I think were necessary, but there are some things here that's showing me that not everybody's loyal and niggas really do be on some bullshit.
The STEM Society.
What's going on, people? This is the Sim Society. My name is Cole Jackson, and this is usually the weekly album check-in. No reviews this week. I actually wanted to dig more into this Young Thug interview and give you some thoughts. Thug sat down with Big Bank to give his exclusive interview talking about some of the leaks and some of the things he went through while he was in prison. So for me, there was a few things here that made me feel like he was very genuine, but there are also some things throughout this interview that made me feel like he was just trying to cover his ass and get back on top to be able to sell records. Because at the end of the day, he's a rapper, he's an artist, and if he doesn't live by his persona, then he ain't gonna be able to sell nothing. So it was a few points here and there that I just wanted to go dig into and just give you my opinion and tell you how I felt about it. Let's start off with probably one of the most important parts of this. Big Bank was tremendous. Big Bank gave one of the realest interviews I've seen in a long time. Nobody in hip hop media could have done this but him. When we're talking about Atlanta, when we're talking about the South, Big Bank is one of those people who have continuously gave us like really important interviews. Now, this is more regional than anything. I think a lot of people would have looked at it. If it was somebody like Ebro, I don't think he would have been able to look at it the same way. Atlanta is its own world. And something that was very much clarified in that interview as well was Atlanta got to stick together. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a big theme that I heard throughout that interview. Nothing showed how important that is than Big Bank actually sitting down with Young Thug. Big Bank did everything right. He talked about the street side of things. He talked about the mental health side of things. He actually came off as a real OG trying to mentor somebody who's younger than him. Like, everything about what Big Bank did was amazing. I think he handled it in the best way possible, and you could really tell that Big Bank has lived through a lot of stuff. Like, the knowledge he was giving out, the questions that he was asking, it was very good, very relevant. He did an amazing job, and I'm glad Young Thug took the opportunity to sit down with Big Bank. Throughout this interview, another part of this was the accountability side of things. If somebody else would have did this interview, most definitely they would have let Thug slide on a lot of things, and he would have got away with kind of not answering these questions. But you can tell Thug looked up to Big Bank. Thug respect Big Bank, and I think that's why hip-hop media is so important. We're not asking a lot of these artists to sit down with just anybody. Sit down with somebody who you trust, because if Thug didn't trust Big Bank, we wouldn't have got a lot of the answers, a lot of the explanations, any of that shit. We would have gotten a whole back and forth or a whole probably a more laughable interview than what this is. And this interview went 3 hours. So they covered a lot of stuff. I'm not digging into the full interview. There's just some points here that I'm going to get into, and I'm going to play some clips here and there just to give you guys a feel of what points stuck out to me and how I feel about them.
I don't feel like you came home humble, bro. Enough. And I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm from the sideline. I talked to you when you first got out, first day you got out, you gonna live and call me on through. I was like, what'd I say? Bro, fuck all that. Get home and get to it. Nothing else. I don't feel like you did. I feel like you came home playing again, bro.
The crazy part is, I thought I came home on fire. I thought I came home just like popping that shit and just living life and getting back to life and enjoying life. But you still gotta understand this too, Bank. My whole life, I poured into people. I built niggas' foundations. I built niggas up my whole life. Any nigga you can name, I play a major part in their success. I can't get out of jail and just hit the ground running. That's what dumb niggas do. That's what a fuck nigga do. They go past what the fuck they did wrong and they just keep going.
Rebuilding doesn't mean what, like rebuilding your mental?
rebuilding my mental, rebuilding my financial stability, rebuilding my organization, rebuilding like the way the world looked at me.
I like the fact that Big Bang came out and said, what was you doing? Why was you talking on the phone? Why were you doing what you was doing? And I'll be real with you. I sympathized with Thug when he said he thought his life was done. He did, I don't never pillow talk or do anything like that, which I highly doubt. I'm pretty sure he pillow talked before. But the fact of the matter of him saying, yo, I thought my life was over with. I just wanted to talk, and then coming back and saying, hey, I talked to the same people, the same people I was talking about on these phone calls are the same people I had these same conversations with. I was talking to these people about what I was saying about them as well, which for me, I find hard to believe because a lot of it was really on some chatty patty type shit, if you want me to be real about it. During this conversation, Big Bang talking about how he wasn't ready to come home was relevant as well, because to me, it felt like he didn't understand how to put his head down and work on his craft and work on his music and try to get his music out there as well. I think he sat up here and had an ego problem. And I'm just keeping it on the stack with y'all. I think Young Thug had a really big ego. I think after beating the RICO charge, he came home and he felt like he could stick his chest out and say or do whatever he wanted to do, which Big Bang also came back and said, yo, you invited this. You don't think you invited this? Which had Thug dumbfounded thinking, well, maybe I did invite that type of energy. I felt like he did too. Between the tweet and the leaks that he was doing, between the viral marketing that he was trying to get out there for his newest album, even some of the stuff that came out before these major leaks happened, it really felt like Thug was feeling like he was untouchable and he felt like nobody could fuck with him. When you start putting that type of energy out there into the universe, of course things like those phone leaks are going to happen. And there's people out here who have been waiting for your downfall. And the way you have portrayed yourself here recently, it just shows, bro, you got to stop being a part of the bullshit. Put your head down and work, make the album, get the music out there and do what you're supposed to do. And I just feel like he got caught up in a whole lot of bullshit.
So who did what's right on that case?
Everybody who on the case did what's right, except the niggas who took the pleas in the beginning of the case. Except them. The niggas who took the pleas in the case, that's who did what's wrong. They took the plea and agreed that YSL was a gang. They saying that we got a RICO and YSL is a criminal street gang. All of us on this trial, all 28 of us saying YSL is not a criminal street gang. Because by the book of gangs, the law that solidify you as a gang, we don't come to terms with none of that. And I ain't like saying, oh, he didn't goddamn do us wrong or he didn't do this. One thing I know is he ain't taking the plea. Yet told him what actually was happening.
What was happening?
Like he told him Duke got jumped on at Magic City by some ops, by the opposite, and he came to Magic City to get Duke.
So let me be real with y'all. When it came down to this plea deal situation and all the legal mumbo jumbo that I've seen throughout this whole part of the interview, I'll be honest with you, I don't really understand any of it. Because it really felt like he was making excuses for people who he wanted to be mad at and people who he didn't want to be mad at. At the end of the day, a lot of these people took plea deals and a lot of these people went home. But everybody went home. Everybody went home. But was it a case to where he just wanted to see who was going to tell and who wasn't going to tell? Because everybody took a deal. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong and help me understand why this is such a complicated part of the whole interview. Him explaining why somebody took a plea deal and why somebody didn't take a plea deal. Why it felt like he wanted to be mad at this group of people but not mad at these other group of people. Thug came off in this part of this interview as somebody who understands the law but not necessarily knowing what the law is. I know he had a lot of high-powered lawyers and a lot of high-powered people in his corner, but when I break all of this shit down from what I know about plea deals and telling and all this other shit, it really felt to me like he just wanted to be mad at this group of people because of X, Y, and Z, and that was his cop-out. They took the deal, and that's it. And then he wanted to let people get a pass on the other side of this taking a plea deal because they were probably more loyal to him than these other people. And that's just a theory of mine. I might not be knowing what I'm talking about because, again, a lot of the legalese that he was explaining to me was confusing as fuck. And it was just one of those parts of the interview where I thought he wanted to figure out who he wanted to be mad at. And why is it so bad that everybody who took that plea deal that he felt like was right about doing it was cool, but Gunna? Because when you look at it, Gunna was the one who, I guess, was named second in command, but he's the least street nigga out of everybody. If you go off of what he said in the interview, he said it himself. He know Gunna's not like that. I know Gunna ain't that type of dude. So I had to look out for him. But if you know that, why are you upset with him the most?
Because I didn't tell them shit in my interrogation video. I'm in this motherfucker talking shit with him. Y'all blood? Hell nah, man. We fake bloods. We just say that shit in music. Crazy. Nobody ain't no real blood. Wayne and us ain't real bloods. We just talking shit in music. I didn't tell them nothing to get nobody in trouble. So why would you look at the end of that interview when I said, take my number, I make promises, baby, don't tell nobody. Why would you look at that part of the interview and say, damn, boy, he was finna get him his number so he can get him information? What information did I get him anyway? The first, you get what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying.
If I'm spinning the police, okay, and at the end of my conversation, I say, get my number if y'all want to know something.
What make
the smartest nigga gonna be like, bitch ass.
Like, it felt like Thug was really trying to cover his ass because he broke the cardinal sin, which is he's talking to the police. Now, he tried to break it down and was like, well, these are major people. These are superstars that I'm talking about. These cops already know that. But that's not street code. When you get in that room, you're not supposed to say nothing. You ask for your lawyer. You ask for representation so you don't have to talk. Just because they know their names doesn't necessarily mean you're not talking. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're speaking on a lot of things that you shouldn't be speaking on. Again, Little Dirk said it best. When you get in that room, this is what you're supposed to do. He gave us the example. So why does it matter if they're stars or not? And he gave some reasons behind it, but were they valid? I personally feel like none of that was valid what he did. I think, again, he's trying to cover up and keep his persona and keep his name where it needs to be at so he can sell records and be the street nigga that we've always known from the very beginning. But I have to call bullshit on that. I just really feel like he got in there and said what he had to say and felt like he was going to tell more if he needed to. And the whole excuse about him giving the chick his number so he can try to holler at her and try to spin the police is complete bullshit. He wasn't trying to spin the cops, my nigga. Like, for me, I just don't see him as being the solid dude. I take that back. For me, I don't see him as the guy he's been portraying himself to be ever since this whole case came through. It's just been a lot of picking and choosing about what's cool on the street code side of things and what's not. Like, it's still real flimsy on some of the stuff that we're supposed to uphold. Well, some of the things that y'all are supposed to uphold as street dudes. Big Bank did a great job on calling him out on that because that's not what you're supposed to do. Big Bank said it best. The cops are smart. Y'all young niggas ain't finna spin no police. And I just feel like that whole part of the interview was just a cover-up.
How do you really, really feel? I know how you know how we supposed to feel about shit. Fuck that nigga crawl me. That's how we supposed to feel.
How you really feel.
How you really feel about this shit. Like, I really, really feel.
I paid money for your album to go number one. You not bigger than no fucking weekend, nigga. I paid money for your album to go number one. When you got out of jail, you didn't help Slime at all. When you got out of jail, you didn't help Slime at all. Savage sent money to Thug. Wham sent money to Thug. Pluto sent money to Thug. Cash sent money to Thug. Drake sent crazy bankroll to Thug. Gunna didn't send no bankroll to Thug. Gunna didn't pull up on Thug mama. Gunna didn't pull up on Thug family. Gunna didn't pull up on Dolly. Gunna didn't pull up on nobody that has nothing to do with Thug. So it's no way possible you think that Elle was serious when she said you got to get out so you can help Thug. Man, you ain't get out and do nothing to help me at all.
When I see Thug talk about Gunna, and when I see Thug explain why he feels the way he feels about Gunna, I really do feel like he hurt by what went down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think at the end of the day, I think he really felt like Gunna stabbed him in the back. And the way he went on about how he brought him up and the way he went on about how he was looking out for him because of his dad and the way he went on about how Gunna is one of those people where he just found his way. He found a way to love him because he knew he wasn't really on that type of time. Made me understand why it got to a point to where like he was really upset with him and just mad at him. But if I want to play devil's advocate, you knew what he was when you started hanging around him. You knew he wasn't this type of street nigga that you fuck with on a regular basis. So why is it surprising to you that he did what he did with the yes ma'am thing and with him saying, hey, I'm not I'm not going to jail for you. See, that's the biggest problem I have with this whole Young Thug thing. It's like it seems like he's loyal to a lot of people who he doesn't need to be loyal to. Now, again, Gunna to me ain't no street dude, but Thug looked at him as one. So his perception, I guess, was his reality. But that's a bunch of bullshit because you talked about how he did these certain things, how he was going to tell on him through Crime Stoppers, how he didn't take care of his mom, how you had to be the one to buy something for his mom and then make it look like it was him. You know the type of guy he is. You should have cut that whole situation loose. And I understand you was doing a favor to his father for it and to your OG and all of that. And I get it. Street code dictates you having to do what your OG tells you to do. But you can love somebody from a distance. See, that was the biggest thing for me too. You held him as second command to you because you were looking out, you was doing what your OG asked you to do. But at the end of the day, it ended up biting you in the ass. You knew who he was when you started being around him. And sometimes just being around a person don't necessarily change their way of thinking or what their morals are. He was going to be who he's going to be at the end of the day, no matter what went down. And I think when you came to that realization behind bars, that's what made you become the person who hated him the most. I don't really blame Thug for being upset, but I do blame him for being stupid. It's just it's a fact. You went down the whole list of things about him. And I'm not saying Gunna's a bad person. I think Gunna did what he had to do when he got to get out. I think this was really a situation where it scared him straight because now he's fitness and he's a whole new person, literally. And it just put him on a path of doing something completely different. And I think Thug, that's something that Thug don't like. I think Thug is really not about Gunna changing his life towards doing the good side of things and getting all of the accolades or getting all of the press or all of the attention that he gets, because you can tell he's a little bit on the jealous side about what Gunna's doing. And I think that Thug really looks at it as, that should be me. I should be the one doing all of that stuff, not him. I groomed him. I made him into who he is today, which that's something that he said. But you can't be mad at somebody who stood up there and got scared straight and you still following down the same dumb, narrow path that you have been doing for a very long time. So who's in the wrong? Is it Thug because he sat up there and decided to take somebody up under his wing who he knew wasn't solid? Or is it Gunna for just being who he is as a person? Somebody who ain't solid, somebody who don't look out for his people, somebody who don't sit around and act like, he is this street dude for real, for real. Who's in the wrong in this whole situation? That's what makes it hard for me to pick a side on all of this. But at the end of the day, I got to be real with you. Thug, you a fool. There's no way I would trust somebody that much and to know if I know what their character is. That was just a dumb move. And I know you wanted to take everybody with you and put them on your back, but at the end of the day, your loyalty to somebody who's not solid in their character was your demise. And you're paying for it right now. Not necessarily on the thing of going to jail, but on the side of things where people ain't looking at you the same. You went so hard on trying to point him out as being a rat or a snitch or all of this stuff. When it came back on you to bite you in the ass, it came back hard. So what do you do now?
Like, you passionate about this shit you talking about, bro. And you so far removed from it. Not to say a nigga supposed to turn into something else. Like, bro, I'm out the game, no scrape, no scars, but I'm still bank. But I'm something else.
This my first time ever even going through shit like this. I'm telling you, bro, I don't deal with this type
But I'm
of shit.
glad you're speaking on it though.
Yeah.
It got like it's always 5 sides to a story, bro. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm gonna
I don't want to see no nigga crash, bro.
I ain't finna do nothing. Look
But
like
that's
crash.
that's the course though.
No, it ain't. I got
Looking like it.
It looked like it, but
Not for you. I'm just saying for the whole thing. You can't say who want to crash.
That's what I'm saying. Crashing gonna have to be a nigga want to do something to me. I respect life and I respect the air that we breathe, earth.
Mm-hmm.
I respect everything that we got. Nigga, my son live with me, man. I take my son to school every morning, bro.
So this is how I'm gonna wrap this whole thing up. At the end of the day, and at the end of this interview, is Thug gonna really change his life around to do something different? Because throughout this whole thing, I think the biggest thing that I got from this was betrayal. It sounded like everybody in his life has betrayed him, especially when he went to jail, and especially when he was locked up for those few years. I feel like the phone calls that got leaked is one of the ultimate betrayals, and nobody knows who it is. At first, I thought it was the police. I thought it was somebody trying to ruin his career from the legal side of things, but that tends to be wrong after listening to what Lauren LaRosa had to say when she came forward and said, yo, these calls have been pulled a long time ago. To me, it comes off as somebody is really betraying this dude and really trying to set him up to kill his career. Now, did this interview save it? In some places, in some ways, I think that it did save his career. In some ways, I really do think that Young Thug could probably change the way he thinks about things now, and maybe even make his circle a lot smaller than what it used to be. Because now it feels like his back is against the wall, and nobody wants to deal with him like that anymore. He really got exposed with all of these leaked phone calls, and it really looks like he was a person who, at the end of the day, was a little too giving and a little bit too caring to the wrong people. Is he going to change his life around after this whole interview came out and after this whole fiasco? He's lost his girl. He's lost his credibility. He's lost his ability to put out music right now because ain't nobody checking for that. Who's going to buy an album from him now after this whole phone call leak? The interview will save his credibility just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to save it too much. He's got a lot of rebuilding to do. And I feel sorry for the dude. He was a victim of his own success, and he was a victim of caring a little bit too much about too many people in his life. I'm glad that we ended up getting an interview like this because it was important for us to know where he stood on so many different things and how he was going to change his life after all of this stuff went down. But I don't know if I could personally go out and buy another Young Thug album after these things because he said a lot of shit that was really fucked up. And he got exposed way too much. What is he gonna do? How is he going to be able to sell an album off of some of the stuff that he used to sell his albums off of? And let's not forget that probation is very strict. He ain't gonna be able to talk about the same type of stuff that he used to talk about. And then these leaked phone calls just makes it even worse. So does he even put out another album? Does he wait a year and rebuild his whole rapper persona again? Does he rebuild it into something completely different? Does he continue to still beef with Thug? Those are some of the most important questions that I still have even after the interview. So who knows, man? But what I do know is hip-hop media is one of those things that continue to do its job the best way they possibly can by sitting down with artists like this. I think we needed to get a real sit down and a real back and forth and a real conversation from somebody who, for all intents and purposes, is still one of the bigger artists that we've had in this generation. What do you think? Do you think Young Thug changes his ways? Do you think we get new music from him? Do you think he doesn't come out with anything at all for a very long time? Let me know in the comments down below. That's all I got for you guys this week. Make sure you guys come back and check me out on Sunday. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like, share, do all of the things, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Like, he say the most ridiculous shit, but it sounds so cold when he just rapping.